Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Nullified Take channel here on YouTube, where we've got the TNT takes for you, except it's the Mucky Take, baby. We are back again to talk about the Traitors, but we've migrated from the south, of the world in New Zealand. We've traveled far north, the South Island of New Zealand experiences snow, but we've now traveled to a place where they only experience snow. We've migrated to Canada to talk about the Traitors Canada. And I could not have done this with a much better co-host. He podcasted with me about Traitors New Zealand. He's one of my best mates. But most importantly, if you watch our New Zealand Traitors, you know where I'm going with this. He is the Noodle Muncher. It's Hamish. How are you?
Bro, I cannot think of a more emotionally stimulating intro than that which you just did. That was amazing.
I don't eat noodles that often, and literally, like yesterday, I was doing a bit of a vacuum, and I still found some noodle crumbs.
That sounds like a really hard experience for you, Michael.
It was.
Do you want a phone book, bro? Do you need a phone book?
For what?
So you can call someone who cares.
All right, we are back, baby. We are back strong to talk about the Traitors Canada. Hamish, it's been a couple months since Traitors New Zealand. How have you been?
Amazing. Because we haven't been doing this. I'm kidding. Nah, I've been good. I've been good. Very, very busy actually. A lot going on with all like the bands and stuff like that. So, if I'm not doing this, one thing, I'm always doing another thing. Particularly with the kind of entertainment industry, if you will. So, yeah. And you?
Oh, I've been great. Still there. Still podcasting. I jumped on for Traitors US cast breakdown because that's like an all-star cast with reality TV with Kahuna and Chris. Yeah, I think that's all. Oh, and deep dives. I've done a deep dive with Julia.
Yes.
Obviously, that was very good. Highly recommend checking that out for Traitors New Zealand. And I've also just finished a deep dive with another player, but I'll keep it as a bit of a surprise on who that player was. You'll have to find out potentially next week. I think we're going to drop it. So I'm just waiting on South Pacific Pictures to approve of it first. But
otherwise, you've got kind of a new background going. You've got this atmospheric lighting. I'm in front of a brick wall and there's a slug next to me.
Isn't that just like you?
Yeah, sorry, bro. Yeah. That's my reflection. My bad.
As a bit of a cheeky tease for everyone, I just finished doing a Ahsoka podcast, which I'm not sure when this will be dropping, as it's pre-recorded. Ahsoka should be dropping next Tuesday, so it's the 5th of October at the moment. Should be dropped Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, in 5 days, hopefully in 5 days. So if you're a Star Wars fan, if you love Ahsoka, if you love seeing people who work at Pack and Save just chill and vibe talk about Star Wars, come along. If you love seeing
Ahsoka, if you love to soak who?
if you want to see or hear about my future marriage, that's also talked about in our Ahsoka podcast as well, with a very special character. Hamish has got no idea because he hasn't seen Ahsoka, nor has he seen the podcast. Yeah, all right. We've distracted long enough. But anyways, if you love Star Wars, Ahsoka podcast should be dropping in 5 days' time. So that's really exciting.
Let's just do it.
So, all right, so we're here to talk about Traitors Canada, and Hamish, when I saw this cast, it's very similar to New Zealand Traitors almost, where half the cast are like, celebrities almost, right? Or people well known in TV industry.
And there's a psychic medium.
And a sidekick, of course. We'll get into her in a wee bit, but there's also a bunch of normies out there as well. Do you, because I know you don't watch much reality TV, but do you recognize any of these Canadian celebrities?
No, I don't.
No? Yeah. Nah. Pretty much same with me. There's only one person I recognize, and her name is Erica. A lot of people are quite excited to see Erica come back. She is a Survivor winner of the New Era, season 41. But what's interesting about Erica Hamish is that she was an under-edited winner. So we didn't actually get to see a lot of her gameplay, her story. It was kind of a very surprising win, if that makes sense, right? Like it was like if you look closely, there is stuff there, on why she won. But it was still kind of a bit of a shock on why she won. But I'm glad to see her back. We got two Big Brother players as well, and pretty big players as well. And Kevin, he won. Hang on, I wrote it down. These lights are too dark. I missed my overhead light. But Kevin is the winner of season 5 of Canadian Big Brother, and we also have Kuzi, who's also Big Brother player for season 11, and she made
Kevin's
top
also a
7.
poker player, no?
Yes, he's a professional poker player, just like your boy Dan, baby.
Yeah.
How do you feel about these three players, Kuzi, Kevin, and Erica? Just off the bat.
To be honest, like it's kind of so early into the game that it's hard for me to pick somebody who I want to kind of like align with, kind of like how I did with Dan and Julia. The only
Mm.
thing I can say is that, I know people who I think are like, I'm not going to say these people are cringe lords, but some of the things they said are like the things that a fucking massive cringe lord would say.
Yeah.
Like that, like it's all about the cash money. Like, oh no, no, what is
Yeah.
He's like, we all speak one language, cash money,
Yeah.
bro. You are so dry.
Yeah, that's something I do miss about Americans. I'm not one to, crap talk people, but I have found that a lot of American
The
reality
Canadians,
shows,
the Canadians.
America, Canada, North Island, South Island, Antarctica, Alaska,
It's
it's all the
that's
same.
not how that works at all. It's like New Zealand, Australia.
I mean, both in the southern hemisphere, we both say mate, and we both love to crack on the
Way to go,
Barbies.
Captain Finger Paint. Don't choke on the crayons.
but anyways, I found that like Canadians and Americans, both of them, like I guess overall, like when it comes to like reality stars and TV characters, they are quite cocky, which I do
Yeah.
love seeing that.
Yeah,
just someone being so full of themselves
I've seen a bit
on
of
the
the
show.
most recent season of UK Traitors because my mum's watching it. So sometimes when I visit, like I'll see a bit of that,
Mm.
and man, like that's also there are some cocky dudes in that one. That's whew. Watch that if you want to hurt on the inside.
Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about Traitors Canada.
Mhm.
It's been released one episode a week, which is a wee bit unfortunate for us because while there is stuff to break down, there's actually not a lot to break down, unfortunately. So this podcast may be a bit shorter than what we normally do, but we'll try to make sure we fill you in with as much juicy content
Just
as we
because it's
possibly
the
can.
first episode, so we know people who will get eliminated, but we don't know who has been eliminated yet, and obviously nobody's been banished either. So
Yeah, exactly. And so since they're doing it one episode a week, next week I assume we'll be getting a elimination and a banishment. And then it'll be like that for the rest of the series. I'm not sure if they will be going to 2 episodes a week or not, but just for right now, it's one episode a week. How do you feel, Hamish? I should ask about just one episode this week. Obviously, Traitors New Zealand, we had 2 episodes. We got to see the elimination and the banishment. How do you feel sort of being left on this cliffhanger, I guess, with no real main
I guess
strategy?
there's merit in both, right? Like in both ways of releasing it. Like if you do 2 episodes, people are more likely to like they feel like they almost get to binge because they see two
Mm.
episodes in that week. They're like, oh fuck, oh heck, sorry, I can see another one. Haven't podcasted in a little bit. Oh goodness, I can see another one. And then they watch that and now they're on a cliffhanger and they have to wait. But now they're more invested. But then I guess with this, it's like there's more suspense in a way. There's more like mysterium about it and wondering like, oh, how is this going to unfold because we've just had the
Mm.
first one. So I don't know. From a practical standpoint, it's been good because you and I have just been like really busy this week.
Yeah.
So it's made this easier.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and you know that at the end of this month, my schedule is going to become a lot more consistent. So um, two episodes or one doesn't really matter so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. But well, there's not much stuff going on. There was stuff going on, so let's quickly talk about. I just want to quickly talk about the Traitors selection. It was really funny because Hamish and I we watched the episodes together. Either I streamed them to him, or we're both just hanging out at mine or his, and we watch it. And they kept, and where we were watching it, there was an ad that kept popping up for faster Canadian Wi-Fi, and it kept coming up while the host was circling around trying to select the traders. And Hamish, I don't know about you, but it felt like majority of the episode was just the host trying to choose the
Oh,
traders.
bro, that Canadian Wi-Fi, it was your computer trying to tell you that you should get better Wi-Fi.
I probably do. Yeah, has
Yeah,
I probably
better
do.
buffering, man.
Yeah, but at times we had to like refresh the
No,
site.
I know, but in seriousness though, I think it's
Yeah,
good that the host, whatever her name is, somebody please remind me,
yeah,
that the host did take her time because I guess if you go around just once or twice, because you're impatient, it's perhaps easier for people to predict like, well, she stopped
mm,
a bit longer there, or unless you're going to stop at a long time for a long time at each person, which is kind
yeah,
of silly. But that allowed her to kind of stop at people, deliberate and then like continue, and so it's a bit of it throws people off, but also people being blindfolded for like a long time, naturally it's going to make them more fearful, like not being able to see, particularly in a public space for a long time, like it will make people just uncomfortable and like more like paranoid. And like imagine you were in a room with like 100 people in a crowd and then it was pitch black for like 10 minutes, you'd go crazy,
yeah,
maybe not
absolutely.
crazy, but you get what I mean, right? And so I think that the longer they were in there, there was all that suspense, like the whole show, and they did it with the New Zealand traders as well. It's like they're trying to do all these little things to make the people paranoid. They're trying to take them away from their senses because that makes for better TV.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think it was
absolutely.
good.
Yeah, but there was one moment though where they take off the blindfolds and Melissa, who is one of the traders, starts crying. Like her eyes are very tearful, and she's
Not
like
like
staring people down.
crying. Let's
Yeah, yeah, not like crying, but like
her eyes were wet.
her eyes were very wet, and
Yeah.
I feel like that would be an obvious sign of a traitor. Because for example, with me, sometimes I've got blocked tear ducts. I've had it since 2019, but every now and then it will like just unblock, and I'll just randomly just start. Sorry, I just randomly start just tearing up, and I feel like it would be such a traitor's giveaway of, oh, this person's got tears in their eyes. Like, obviously, maybe they got tapped and they're really excited, or you're perhaps like emotional about something. But I feel like since the fact that it was obvious they were there for quite some time, like Melissa could probably easily just come across and be like, oh no, I just hate the dark or something, or the blindfold was too intense on the face.
Yeah, right. I don't know. The thing is, and I think anyone who's kind of like into learning how to like read people's behavior and that kind of psychology stuff, like people would probably know that anyway. But if not, something that we definitely learned from the Traders New Zealand season one is that picking up on small cues
Mm,
is important. It's good to be observant of that. But if you pick up on one thing and that's it, like that person might be a traitor, but you can't rule them out as a traitor
Mm.
just from that. Like you think with like Mike Piru, right? Like the bro Dylan, right? He was like,
Yeah.
oh, he didn't act as happy as everyone else, so he's definitely a traitor. Or Robbie said some questionable things, just as they rolled off of her tongue, right?
More than
And
once.
well, okay, fine,
Yeah.
sure, but
Yeah.
with the first one, people were already sold,
Yeah. True.
and so, and she wasn't a traitor
Yeah.
yet. Um, but so with things like that, I think it's one of those kind of things that you could be like, that's outside of the norm that she's got teary-eyed, but there could be
Mm.
so many reasons for it. I'm going to remember it, but not be immediately suspicious. I'm just gonna like watch her and everyone else, and if other
Mm.
things come up as well that kind of put that into a context where it's like, oh, that was traitorous or treacherous, whatever, like then you'd be more suspicious. But that in and of itself, like I think that you would be, yeah, I think you'd be naive to think that that was a traitor thing in and of itself.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. But speaking of traders, let's quickly talk about them. So we've got 3 traders. We've got Melissa, who we briefly talked about, Magic Mike, Mike the Magician, and we also have Kuzi, the Kuzi, the Big Brother player. How do you feel about these 3 being the starting traders?
I think they're all good. I don't think we saw enough of Kuzi to for me, particularly somebody who hasn't seen, or doesn't know any of these people,
Yeah.
already. But with Mike, I think that we've had more of him in the edit.
Mm.
Um, and I mean, I haven't even seen any Big Brother season, so I don't
Yeah.
fully know how it works. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, like this bro was on Big Brother, but then with Mike, it's like, well, I know what a magician does. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm kind of excited for him. I think he's probably the trader that I feel most like, that I vibe the most with at the moment.
Yeah.
And obviously Melissa, she's, people are already really suspicious of her.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, bruv,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, you know, I'm
Yeah.
not just gonna be simping because you're bad at the game. I don't know.
Gosh, yeah. I do feel a bit bad for Melissa because once you get that target, it's impossible to shake, right? And it was just a couple moments at the round table when the blindfolds first got taken off, where apparently she was staring at people but intensely, and plus the teary-eyed stuff, and that she's involved in too many
Bro,
conversations.
that's what I'm saying though, right?
Yeah.
If I were
Oh,
a
sorry,
faithful,
that is true.
I would be looking at people intensely. If I were a faithful, as soon as we remove the blindfolds, I would be eyeing up everyone trying to figure out,
Yeah.
and look, the fact that people noticed not just that she was staring at them, but that she was staring at people intensely is because they were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
They
Exactly.
wouldn't have known that unless they were also like trying to scope everyone out. So,
But
bro,
it's that's the beauty of the traders, though, right? Is that it doesn't matter what you think or what you do; it's what other people think. And if everyone's doing the same thing as you, but they think you're doing it like just a tiny bit more sus, then you're the target somehow.
Jay,
It's
nah,
weird,
bro.
right? It's
If
weird.
I were a faithful and
Yeah.
somebody was doing something and I was like for a second like, is that suspicious? I would think well, how am I playing? Because I know I'm a
Yeah.
faithful. Not that every faithful would play the same, but if they were doing things that I was doing, they still could be a traitor. Maybe they're just playing really well. But like,
Mm.
I would be like, that thing on its own isn't suspicious because I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Unless you're Robbie. But like,
Well, we may be set up for another Robbie this season, Hamish. And the
with
name
Melissa.
is no, is it Donna? Donna? I think it's Donna,
Oh,
but she's the sidekick.
sidekick.
And
Yeah.
immediately we see people start targeting her for the first banishment. I'm not sure. I rewatched the episode and I still wasn't sure why people were targeting her, but they were targeting her, and she has this emotional, moment where she talks about how like the game is, just quite stressful and stuff like
Didn't
that. She's just
Robbie
trying to be
also do
herself.
that?
Yeah, and it did not work. I'm pretty sure the next episode Robbie got seduced as well. But anyways, Donna, she has this emotional moment, but then in confessional, she talks about how this is also a bit of a strategic moment because you don't want to eliminate, the person who's just had the emotional thing, right? And yeah, but what's your thoughts on Donna so far? She's a sidekick. So far, sidekicks have not done well on the Traitors from from what we know. Yeah, what's your thoughts on Donna overall?
My thoughts on Donna overall, but I think with psychics on the. In fact, I'll let my bro explain. His name's Sammy the Slug. I
Nice.
think that
Nice, Sammy.
psychics on traders should use their abilities if they believe they have them, but they shouldn't be telling other people that they have those abilities. The reason for that is because then other people are going to target them. But if they, bruv, I don't actually want you to be on me.
Oh no. Oh, okay. There, right.
Sorry,
You kind of
no, the
break through.
slug just he interfered with the like satellite wavelength, so I've actually had to cancel him from the show. Sorry, Sammy. Um, yeah,
Sammy was robbed.
he's actually with the boss having a disciplinary. Nah, nah, yeah, I think like okay, like if you believe in that kind of stuff, I'm not saying I do or I don't, but because that's not the point. But if that's your belief, then go in there thinking like I'm going to utilize this gift that I have, or however you want to look at it.
Hmm.
But if you start telling other people that the the target that puts on your back compared to the trust it would get you from other faithfuls, I think
Hmm.
it's not an even ratio, bro. Like,
Yeah.
just don't. Like the moment that you say I'm a psychic, the traders are like, get her out.
Yeah.
Unless, of
Straight up.
course, you're taking a lot of heat from other faithfuls, and then there's no point in eliminating you
Hmm.
as for a trader.
Yeah.
Um, but if you're taking all that heat, then the faithfuls don't trust you anyway. So either
Yeah.
way, like, what are you what are you
Yeah.
achieving by telling people that? So that's
Yeah.
honestly such like a secret weapon, and that remains secret. Um, yep.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about Kevin, but just before we do, let's quickly talk about the mission.
Yep.
I feel like this was a bit of a cinematic mission almost, where they had to break up into two groups, one being like a physical group, the other being a bit less physical, and the physical ones had to run up this hill to grab these two different things and then run back down with it, and while the other team, they found like a bunch of different wires and sort of, clipped them all together to make this giant explosion. But we had, sorry, I keep forgetting his name. It is, what is it? Trevin. Poor Trevin joined the physical side, ran all the way up that steep hill, all the way back down. And we kept seeing that he was like struggling and struggling. He had to like leave to catch his breath and come back. And he collapses at the end. And turns out he's got asthma.
Yeah,
Like,
bro. Like, look,
bro,
it's not a reason to like banish him or to think that he's like a traitor or anything. Like, I don't think it should have any impact on like how you play the rest of the game
hmm.
with or without him. But like one thing that one of the players said in their confessionals thereafter was like if you knew you had asthma, why would you volunteer to do that?
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
exactly.
just from like a realistic kind of standpoint, like, yeah, why would you do that?
Yeah. But maybe, you know, obviously we're gonna have to think of a smartest move of the week, right? Um, Maybe it was strategic of, is it Trevin or Tevin? Trevin to because if you're a trader, why would you risk getting medically evacuated?
If you were
You get what I
faithful, why
mean?
would you risk getting medically evacuated? But
Well, here's the
maybe he wanted people to both feel sympathy for him and to think that despite his challenges, he's still trying really hard to get money for the faithfuls. So
exactly.
he went there. Maybe he used to not have asthma, but then prior to being on the show, he took all these different like supplements and got like injections and stuff so that he could basically contract asthma so that he could
Hmm.
use that as the sympathy card on the show.
Or maybe he just doesn't have asthma and just pretended to pass out. He was like, yo, I went to a drama school. I'm just gonna pass out.
Nah,
Yeah.
to be honest, I know what my smartest move of the week is, and it's not that.
Okay. Um yes. Sorry, Trevor. Yeah, we've talked a bit of trash about you. I think you're a nice guy, but bro, like you always got to be evacuated. Still legend though, still a legend.
Well, he
I
didn't end
pro
up getting evacuated, so
Yeah, like I probably couldn't run all the way up that hill and back down carrying that, and I don't have asthma. I'm just a really lazy guy. So, so,
yeah.
anyways, we're quite a cinematic thing where they're able to pull the dynamite and it all blows up. It's great, epic, and then we come back and there's a lot of strategy talk going on, and especially from one person in particular, Kevin, the winner of Big Brother season 5. He sort of makes an alliance with Kuzi and Erica, the other Big Brother player who's actually a traitor and the Survivor winner. And something that I found quite interesting about it is that he made this alliance and he talks about how he wants to keep the reality stars around, like the bigger names around, to sort of like dwindle out the sort of like normal people of
Hmm.
the right. And here's an interesting talking point for us, Hamish. Is it worth aligning yourself with other strategic players, even though there's a chance that they could be a traitor, just to maybe keep yourself in the game a bit longer? So you might be banishing people who you don't think is a traitor, but you're banishing people because you're just wanting to keep your numbers up.
I think that's just dumb, to be honest. I think
Mm,
like maybe in some games, for example, Survivor, like trying to align yourself with strategic people. Sure, that's like dangerous because, eventually they might out strategy you and get you out. But like
mm,
for a while, you can kind of ride their wave. You know what I mean? Like I get
yeah,
that if that's how you want to play it. That being like kind of riding the wave. But I think at the end of the day, like if you trust your instincts, and maybe you don't, but like just trust your instincts. Otherwise, like, why are you there? What are you
yeah,
doing? Right? Just try to figure out who you think are the traitors and play around that. Not play around who like,
yeah,
well, this person's been on this TV show. What does that matter? That might
yeah,
have impacted whether or not they were chosen to be a traitor, but
mm,
you don't know that. Like, just
yeah,
I think that the way to play would be to figure out who you believe are the traitors, try
yeah,
to them come across as someone who's not threatening,
mm,
um and then provided you're right, let's say I'm like, Michael, Chris, and Kahuna are traitors. I'm going to go to you guys and talk to you guys, be friendly, be non-threatening. Then I'm going to go to everyone else when you three aren't there, and subtly enough, so I don't seem like a traitor, basically be like, I'm pretty sure Michael's a traitor. um
mm,
and then that way I don't come across, hopefully, as a threat to you. But oh my god, the slug's back on the paper. That's so cool. I don't come across as a threat to you.
yeah,
And then you don't know that secretly. Like I'm plotting to get you banished. That's
mm,
probably one way that I would try to play as a faithful. And it depends how sure you are that you've figured out who the traitors are. But
yeah,
yeah, at the end of the day, it comes down to, yeah, not who has been on what show, because that happened. What shows they've been on, what career they had, what their family
mm,
life is, whatever. That all happened before they got chosen to be a traitor or not.
yeah,
You know, what you are watching is how people act after being chosen. Nothing else prior matters. Maybe to an extent, like, because you can see how they've changed, how they're acting now compared to what they were back then. But
mm,
everything you're basing your game off of is what you observe. And that's the thing, you can't be passively observing, you're obviously actively observing. I say this like I've played on the show, but that would be my viewpoint on the more effective way to play. So I think Kevin was big brothering it and not tradersing it.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting concept because I was having a weird look at it. So the Traders New Zealand, for example, were all quite big names. So you had Lauren from Dancing with the Stars, Matt, who's a radio host, which people know him, and you had Dan, who's a professional poker player, one of the best in New Zealand. I think like the best in New Zealand from what I heard.
Mm.
And he's also an actor as well. Apparently, he's an actor. And so you had them in Traders Australia. You had Ash, who is a massive like reality TV star, and then like I'm not sure because I don't think I've seen Sam and Blake in other shows before, so I'm not sure. And with but I think Sam, he's like a massive Instagram following as well, so I think that's why he was a
Yeah,
trader.
yeah, but bro, okay, so
And
here's the thing. Like you've pointed out, like, oh, but these traders were pretty big names. Yeah, okay. So what about, the very successful male model in the Faithful, or what about the other radio broadcaster in the
yeah,
Faithful? What about all of these people in the Faithful? Like, so it wasn't just one model. There were two models in the Faithful. Like
yeah,
there was a comedian in the Faithful. Like there are all these names that people recognize. You recognize Colin, basically as soon as
mm,
you saw him, right? So like yeah, there are big names in the traders, but that's just because there are big names on the show. So just
yeah,
by like probability, there's going to be a big name or two in the
yeah,
traders. But there were those in the faithful as well. And another thing is like you've got more faithful than you do traders. So with the faithful, you're going to have some people who are more known, but you're also
mm,
likely to have more of the not as known people. Um,
yeah,
you know, so
yeah.
yeah, I don't think basing, because if your strategy is I'm going to align myself with people who are well known because there's a chance they'll get chosen to be a trader because they're well known, bro, like that's that's such a like that's the most shot in the dark thing. I don't know. It doesn't seem like I don't think there's like a lot of strategy to that.
Well, where I was about to go with it is that it's actually kind of smart because then the traders won't eliminate you early on because they'll think you're working with them. Now, but then again, the twist to that is that you'll then have to recognize that and act on it, right? And act on potentially trying to backstab or get rid of them. But I think potentially for early days, it could be the smart move to
They
make
think you're
so that you're not
working
an
with
early
them because
elimination.
you're trying to work with the traders, but it's like you're not trying to work with the traders. You're trying to work with the big names. But that doesn't
Yeah,
mean anything. That means nothing. That's why
yeah,
I'm saying like observe them. Do you think they seem like a trader? Forget what their profession is. Does that
mm,
person are they acting like a trader? Cool.
yeah,
Become not threatening to them. Like I agree with you, right? Like kind of go up to them, like be nice, be like friendly, be like seem like completely blindsided by them, and or that you're
yeah,
not throwing their name out there, you're not like a big loud voice, and then when they're not there, be the big loud voice.
yeah,
um but you're not going to figure out that they are the traitors. You're not going to
mm,
successfully execute the strategy. To do that, you need to figure out who the traitors are. You're not going to figure that out by saying this person plays poker. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you're gonna figure that out by being like, this person is in a lot of these conversations regarding like the who they think it could be, and they're kind of just being very agreeable and just trying to throw the attention away from this person and stuff. But the one time that heat came onto them, they seemed a little bit cagey, and they're for the next like half hour, like they seem to be very like in their head all of a sudden, when usually there's somebody who's more like extroverted, and you're like stuff like that.
yeah,
You'd be watching for that, and then you would do basically the strategy that it sounds like we would both do. But yeah, I don't. It
yeah,
seems kind of silly to do that because they act.
yeah, yeah. True, true. Um, Well, let's move on to the end of the episode because there wasn't really much else that was going on. Oh, I guess some people were starting to target Kevin because he was overplaying his hand quite a bit. So I think Kevin and Melissa might be the two main targets going into the banishment next week. I'm not sure, but we do get to the Traitors Tower, which I was a bit sad to see that we've moved on from the Shrek toilet hut to to like an actual part of the castle now, where we see Melissa, Magic Mike, and Kuzi all have a chat, and they talk about how Melissa's names are out there. And something I found quite interesting is that we normally only get like 3 names or like 2 names, right? But I feel like we got multiple names on who could potentially be
It's
eliminated.
always 3 names, bro. In New Zealand Traitors, it was always 3 names, and like sometimes you could tell that the producers were saying like, say a third one, but like they didn't actually have a reason. Like the first time they put King's name into it, it's like that was definitely like a say a third one moment,
Yeah, definitely. But the people up for potential elimination is Erica, the Survivor winner, Kevin, the Big Brother winner, May. Sorry, I keep thinking it's Mai, and Fierce. Fierce is the drag queen. I think I'm not too sure, but yeah, those are the people up for elimination. Which all of them are. I mean, May. I feel like we didn't get to see as much, but she does seem like a fun personality. But Fierce, Erica, and Kevin, we did get to see quite a bit in this first episode.
So it's going to be one of them.
I think it might be one of them.
I don't think it's May. I think that they were saying that like because it's the first night, whoever they vote out, there's not going to be like this person was targeting you. Well, probably not. You know what I mean? Sure, like Kevin's name got thrown around a bit, so did Donna's, but like, like there's not a lot of gameplay outside of the conclave that's tied to that decision in the conclave, if you get what I'm saying. And so they can go for anyone basically, so they were saying because of that, let's vote out the biggest. Let's get out the biggest thing now. Let's go for like the most insane, like the hardest, get rid of a big hitter now before they become a problem. And so Kevin seems to me like an obvious one, but I also think that Kevin is hitting too big. So if he's gonna have votes thrown his way, why get rid of him? And so I think that the other obvious social player would be Fierce. So I think that it's either Kevin or Fierce. It's hard for me to say which one of them really. I still haven't. I'm gonna say Fierce. I think Fierce. I think Kevin has. They've both been in the edit a lot. I think Kevin's been in the edit more in the way that it's like I feel like they're trying to develop his character as far as the story goes, and I think Fierce has been in it a lot so that you really understand this contestant, and you get like a good bit of time for them to see like how things went, and like you get to see their personality a little bit so that you can feel for when they go. So just judging by the edit, I think Fierce is gonna go home.
Yeah, I unfortunately agree. I think just based on the edit, I feel like it's actually between Erica and Fierce. Sorry for my stutter. Because I think Kevin would be a waste of a elimination simply because people are already targeting him. So that would be an easy first banishment. Whereas if you take out Kevin, the room is open again and anyone can get banished, right? Whereas if you have Kevin there, that would be such an easy first banishment, right, for the Traitors to escape by. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's Fierce. And that's pretty much it for things that happened this this episode. But, we can't really conclude anything without one of our greatest segments we've ever had on the Nullified Take channel. It is the smartest move of the week. Hamish, since you had a gig recently and did extremely well, I know how good of a singer you are. So I'm going to create you a beat, and you're
Oh,
going to sing a improvised theme song. All right?
I'm not gonna like sing it. I'm just gonna like speak in rhythm.
No. You have to go all hard out, bro. That's
Yep,
it's
that's
all or
what's gonna
nothing.
happen. I'm gonna
Yeah.
sing. Yep, that's it.
Right.
Welcome back to the smartest move. Who knows what to do? We do vote
Um,
at your general election. I'm kidding.
oh gosh. Anyways,
Anyway, my smartest move of the week is Kevin going up to someone and being like, "Bro, like, just between you and me, like, I trust you. Like, you're the one. Like, I reckon, like, you seem really legit. Like, I want to work with you." But then saying that to every single person, so that they go up to each other later and be like, "Did he come up to you?" And like, "Yeah, he did. Did he come?" And he said the same thing to everyone, and they're all just like, "Well, he's a traitor." But
yeah.
it's smart because now people are going to throw his name around, and now he would have been eliminated by the Traitors tonight, but he won't be because he's copping those votes, and so it'll be fierce. And so by doing that, he's copped enough heat to survive the night against the Traitors.
Is he pulling the intentional Julia? Where so
No,
in
bro,
my deep
don't compare the bro. Don't
so
compare the
when
bro to
so
Kevin.
when during my deep dive with Julia, she mentioned that she wanted to be a bit suspicious, so then the traders would not come after her, like for the elimination, simply because there's always some suspicious, some suspicious. You don't want to get rid of someone who the faithfuls are suspicious of. So is he pulling the intentional Julia, where he's just
Nah, bro.
making such a
Nah. Okay, okay.
sus energy
Okay, he's
about it?
doing the same thing, but it's like this. Let's just say that they're both Pokemon, right? And and doing this strategy is being a water type, right? Water type
Mhm.
Pokemon like to get a little bit of suspicion for this purpose, right?
Yeah.
Julia was like Blastoise, right?
Okay. Um.
And Kevin is like Magikarp.
All right.
So yeah, I mean he's doing the
Yeah.
same thing, but don't compare my point.
Well, all I gotta say, which I feel like you're gonna come at me for this, and a lot of people might come at me for this. I actually am not a Pokemon fan. Look, I'm sorry. I can't. I like.
Why am I friends with?
I.
Can
Oh my gosh. Look, I'm sorry, man. I loved Bakugan. I was into Beyblade, Transformers Prime, all that sort of stuff, and they were on the same time as Pokemon, and so I just did not watch
what are you
Pokemon.
like born in 2001 or something?
Yeah. I was. I'm sorry. I'm just.
Back in my day.
Yeah, you old codger. No.
I
But
remember being a kid and like trading Yu-Gi-Oh cards out of a plastic New World bag and Bakugan Battle Brawlers that didn't even exist yet, bro.
bro, I remember I actually have a giant box filled with Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But since I only saw one episode of Yu-Gi-Oh and not the rest of the series, because it was just always on telly when I was like at school, I never actually understood what Yu-Gi-Oh was.
You're like okay, so you know the cards where there's like the left arm, the right arm, the legs and stuff, and you build like Exodia. You're like
Okay.
one of the arms, but it's like just hit the funny bone and you can't feel anything.
I'm well, if we're really gonna go that deep, I'm pretty funny.
Hey Michael, have you seen this? Hey, I
God.
just got our audience as well. I
Yeah.
just decircled all of our Canadian viewers.
Oh gosh, and viewers around the world. So if you go to Canada or anyone watching this, you can hit them. But thing
Yeah.
is, how do you know if someone is a TNT listener? So I'm just going to go up and just hit everyone?
I do that anyway.
Yeah, I still have the bruises. But anyways,
Gonna talk smack about my noodles again.
I'm going to agree with you on it. I was a bit lost this week for Smartest Move of the Week. The only one I could think of was poor Trevin running up that, long hill, even though he has asthma. I was like, yo, this pretty cunning, pretty strategic. But the only strategic argument I could think of is that he's proven himself to be the faithful of all faithfuls, because why would you medically evacuate yourself for a challenge if
Maybe
you're
the
a traitor?
smartest move of the week was the host being a French Canadian. And then so when she wanted to make it sound really like prestigious and fancy because they're at a castle, she would just say French words. And then it
Yeah.
got everyone really immersed. And because they were more immersed, they were more likely to become more paranoid when the show was trying to make them paranoid. And then so she would make for really good television simply by being born to a French Canadian family.
Maybe the smartest move of the week was the Canadian Wi-Fi making me recognize that my internet is terrible.
Why do we exist?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm kidding.
But no, I'm happy to agree with you about Kevin making smartest move of the week by telling everyone, "You're my number one. You're the one I trust. You're the one I trust." But we can turn that into a song. But no, you're the number one. You're the number one. Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. You're the one I trust, because I don't want you to turn to
Why are you
dust.
still going?
Look, oh gosh, look, it's 11:15 p.m. All right, I can't. Yeah. Um, so I don't know what's wrong with me tonight, but all right.
It's
So
11:50?
11:15.
11:15.
Gosh, if it was
Holy
50, we would have been screwed, man. Because I got work very early tomorrow.
yeah, bro.
But no, smartest move of the week goes to Kevin for telling everyone, "You're my number one. You're my number one. You're the one I trust, because I don't want you to turn to dust." Boom. That is the song. The number one song. The number one. Because yeah. All right. Any parting words, Hamish?
Yeah, I do have parting words. Okay, so for ages, Sammy the Slug has been like right here by this piece of paper. Right now,
Okay.
Sammy the Slug is all the way over here. Gee, he's making a runner.
Mad dog.
He's on a marathon.
Mad
He's
dog.
doing a pilgrimage, dude. Stay tuned. Check in next week, not only to see more about Traitors Canada, but to find where Sammy's at on his journey. Has he made it to the Vatican?
Sammy, more like Turbo, bro.
Nah, bro. I can assure you, he's not a turbo. He's like moving that. Nah, actually, don't talk smack about my boy Sammy the Slug.
Okay,
I know where you
I'll try
live.
not to. You do. Unfortunately, that is all for our podcast tonight. I'm actually surprised we managed to squeeze in 50 minutes. Not a lot really happened, but stuff did happen. So thank you so much for listening, everyone. If you are new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. We've now got a new target of 3K, and then 5K, and then 100K. You know, how sick would that be? So, if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe. If you like this content, please leave a juicy like and let us know what you think about Traitors Canada so far. I have recently joined Twitter because Chris forced me to. And so, if you're wanting to keep up to date with my lively thoughts about Traitors Canada, Star Wars shows, and all the shows that we podcast, it is at Mucky 5524136. I don't know why the numbers were there. I made it in 2013, and I've only recently came back to it now. So yeah, I'm official on Twitter, everyone. So definitely hit that up. How about you, Hamish? Any socials or anything you want to promote before we go?
Yeah, I'm gonna run for prime minister. No, you should follow me on my Instagram, which you can actually see right here. Why do I have to point at it? It's
Yeah.
HTHVSTH. There's that. And if you're like, well, I hear you're a musician, where can I find that? In the bio of that Instagram, there are all the links. Anyway, you can listen to my music. I do a few different genres over different projects, so that's kind of woo.
Woo! Yeah. No. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Next week we'll have a lot more juice to spill, a lot more gossip to add to the tea, with the banishment and also with the elimination to talk about. So, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Have a great day or great night, wherever you're watching this, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
All right.